Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Law, SOL, Certificate in Consumer Protection, CCP, CPI 102 Redressal of Consumer Grievances, Role of Various Stakeholders, Block-1 Role of Media and State Government in Consumer Protection, Unit 4 Government Initiatives, 4.1 Objectives. After studying this unit, the learner shall be able to identify government initiatives taken to create consumer awareness, describe Jago Grahak Jago campaign, identify the services offered to consumers at Grahak Suvidha Kandras, and understand the concept of consumer helpline. 4.2 Introduction. In India and other developing countries, the consumer is left at the sympathy of shopkeepers and manufacturers. The markets are full of substandard and forged products. Those are widely available for general public or consumers. With this aim, government has started its work for consumer protection in India with the collaboration of multi-stakeholders including voluntarily consumer organizations to encourage awareness among the people regarding the consumers' rights. On 4th June 1997, the Ministry of Food and Ministry of Civil Supplies were merged to form Ministry of Food and Consumer Affairs with three departments: Department of Food and Civil Supplies, Department of Sugar and Edible Oils, Department of Consumer Affairs. On 15th October 1999, the Ministry of Food and Consumer Affairs was renamed as the Ministry of Consumer Affairs and Public Distribution, having the same three departments. Finally, on 17th July 2000, the then Ministry of Consumer Affairs and Public Distribution was renamed as the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, with two departments, which is continuing till date: Department of Food and Public Distribution, Department of Consumer Affairs. Realizing the importance of consumer awareness, government has accorded top priority to consumer education, consumer protection and consumer awareness. The success of consumer movement mainly depends upon the level of consumer awareness generated in the country by educating the consumers about their rights and responsibilities. Within India itself, the level of consumer awareness varies from state to state depending upon the level of literacy and the social awareness of the people. 4.3 Department of Consumer Affairs. In the modern industrial society, consumer occupies a pivotal place. With the advent of globalization, the multinational companies are competing with local companies in the matter of production as well as rendering of services. There is a need to educate the consumers about their rights and also to put in place a framework to redress consumer grievances and to encourage the organizations which advocate the consumer cause. A consumer who is fully aware of his rights is in a position to exert pressure on the producers and suppliers of goods and services to upgrade the quality and standard of the products and services. This makes the local producers and service providers globally competitive. Government has accorded top priority to consumer education, consumer protection and consumer awareness. India is a country which has taken a lead in introducing progressive legislation for consumer protection. The most important milestone in consumer movement in the country has been the enactment of the Consumer Protection Act, 1986. The Department of Consumer Affairs has initiated a large number of consumer-centric schemes based on the following three fundamentals. Consumer should be able to assert his/her rights. For this purpose, he/she should be aware of what to expect from the service providers, including manufactured goods. This calls for increase in consumer awareness. The vehicle for doing so, inter alia, is to promote consumer movement so that it permeates into the mindset and thus consumer welfare becomes an integral part of public policy and functioning of the government, public and private sectors. 2. Standards and conformity assessment. To enable the consumer to assert his/her rights, it is necessary that he/she must be able to benchmark his/her expectations of quality services or products against certain predetermined levels. That is where the installation of a comprehensive quality infrastructure with state-of-art integrated system of standards, legal metrology, and conformity assessment aligned to the best international practices assumes a special significance. 3. Should the consumer find the quality of service or goods deficient when benchmarked with predetermined or prescribed standards, he/she should have recourse to relatively inexpensive and quick method of redressal. This means that consumer grievance redressal mechanism is an integral ingredient in asserting consumer rights. The schemes of the Department of Consumer Affairs are woven around these fabrics. The Department of Consumer Affairs has initiated a number of steps to promote a responsible and responsive consumer movement in the country, which are in line with the best international practices. These include setting up of the National Consumer Helpline, Consumer Online Resource Empowerment Core Center, grants to state government to setting up state consumer helplines, Grahak Suvidha Kandras, and creation of chair centers of excellence in institutions, universities, and information, education, and communication programs for consumer awareness. Some of the major initiatives taken by the Department of Consumer Affairs include a. Computerization and computer networking of consumer fora, Confonet, b. Strengthening consumer fora, c. National Consumer Helpline, d. Consumer Online Research and Empowerment Center, Core, e. Gold hallmarking, f. Regulating future markets, g. Setting up of consumer clubs, h. Strengthening of weight and measurement organizations, I. Comparative testing of products, j. Laying down of standards through Bureau of Indian Standards. 4.4 Campaign Jago Grahak Jago. Consumer awareness has become an important issue and a political, economic, and social concern in developing countries including India. Thousands of people dies from taking adulterated food and expired medicines. In India, the government has taken many steps to protect consumers, and in 2005 the Government of India started a national campaign Jago Grahak Jago to create awareness among Indian consumers about the consumer rights. The slogan Jago Grahak Jago campaign has now become a very popular in every Indian household through mass media campaign via electronics, print and digital platform. An enlightened consumer is an empowered consumer. An aware consumer not only protects himself from exploitation but induces efficiency, transparency and accountability in the entire manufacturing and services sector. Government has accorded top priority to consumer education, consumer protection and consumer awareness. The Department of Consumer Affairs realized that generating consumer awareness is the key to the consumer movement in the country. Hence, it is implementing an innovative and intensive multimedia campaign to create consumer awareness in the country. Consumer awareness was also carried out simultaneously through the electronic media, largely through 30-second spots on TV and radio jingles on topics ranging from MRP to gold hallmarking, ISI-marked products, expiry dates and consumer rights. This campaign aims to create awareness amongst the consumers and has become very popular in every Indian household. The objectives of Jago Grahak Jago campaign are listed below. 1. To protect the consumer against the promotion and selling of products and services which are dangerous to life and property of individuals. 2. Every consumer must be properly informed and educated on the price, standard, purity, potency, quantity and quality of the products so that the consumers are protected against the unfair and unethical trade practices. 3. Every consumer should have right to be assured, wherever there is possibility of access to different products at competitive rates, the consumer should be given access to. 4. Every consumer must have right to be heard at different forums. 5. The consumer should have his right to look for justice and redress against any unethical or unfair trade practice which aims to exploit the consumer. 6. Every consumer should be educated about the campaign Jago Grahak Jago. An enlightened consumer is an empowered consumer. An aware consumer not only protects himself from exploitation but induces efficiency, transparency and accountability in the entire manufacturing and services sector. Jago Grahak Jago is a consumer awareness program from Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. The government has used multiple channels to create consumer awareness. Print media advertisements, audio campaigns, video campaigns are being used for consumer information and education about initiatives like Insurance Ombudsman Channel. Consumer movements are confined to certain areas or relate to the consumer awareness levels. It is very much crucial to develop the awareness campaigns in whole country through giving proper education to consumers to understand their rights and the responsibilities as consumers. If taken into account the area-wise assessment of different localities in the country, one finds too much gap in consumer awareness levels from one part of country to other. It all happened due to literacy and awareness levels of people in various states. It is a draconian task to educate more than 120 crore masses, that to the representatives of several groups or categories. Difficulties are more in the rural regions because they are locations where consumers can be easily exploited on several stages in terms of consumer interests in departments or ministries concerned. Jago Grahak Jago has become the focal theme through which issues concerning the functioning of almost all government departments having a consumer interface has been addressed. Joint campaigns are undertaken with other government departments like the Bureau of Energy Efficiency to educate people about energy conservation by through the B-Star labels, the National Pharmaceuticals Product Prices Authority, Jan Aushadhi, to educate consumers about the availability of generic medicines at reasonable price, the UIDAI for the Aadhaar card, the Postal Department and the Railways by promoting the Jago Grahak Jago toll-free telephone number on postal passbooks and railway tickets. IRDA, RBI and TRAI as regulators has also participated in the joint coverage on Jago Grahak Jago program, which aims to educate consumers. As part of this initiative, print advertisements for consumer information and education about initiatives like Ombudsman Channel for dispute resolution have been published and also telecast in leading electronic media. Multimedia publicity campaign. As part of the multimedia publicity campaign, the activities being undertaken are publicity through print media using newspaper advertisements to educate the consumers about their rights and responsibilities, publicity through electronic media by telecast of video spots of 30 seconds duration on various consumer-related issues such as grievance redressal system, MRP, ISI hallmark, alternate dispute redressal system, weights and measures, rights of consumers, etc. Issues pertaining to rural and remote areas have been given prominence in the various advertisement spots. Telecast of advertisement in northeastern states in regional languages of 20 seconds and 30 seconds duration on various consumer-related issues such as MRP, maximum retail price, short measurement, expiry date on medicine, adulteration, damaged product and redressal system, Meghdoot postcards, the department in consultation with the Department of Post has disseminated consumer awareness messages through Meghdoot postcards to reach far-flung, rural areas including northeast states. A bigger plan of partnership with the Department of Posts to use the vast network of Postal Department for spreading the message of consumer awareness has been chalked out. Calendars containing the message of consumer awareness are being displayed through the vast network of 1.55 lakhs post offices. Consumer awareness messages have been disseminated widely through Meghdoot postcards in consultation with Department of Post to reach far-flung rural areas including northeast states. Posters carrying messages pertaining to consumer awareness have been displayed in 1.55 lakh rural post offices and more than 25,000 urban post offices throughout the country. The Department of Consumer Affairs through printed literature is also creating awareness. A folder entitled Consumer Awareness Mission containing the salient features of Consumer Protection Act 1986, Consumer Resource Kit as well. Pocket calendars and posters are being distributed during various events. The publicity material relating to consumer awareness has also been translated in regional languages and is being disseminated to various state governments. Nukkad Nataks are being performed in consultation with Song and Drama Division of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. More than 1,000 programs in all the states UTs have been organized to create awareness at grassroots level. A national consumer helpline initiated can be accessed through a toll-free number 1800-11-4000. In order to reach maximum number of consumers, the department has telecast video spots containing consumer-related information during the popular sports events. India is a country with more than 70% population being under 35 years. The youngsters are using the internet in a big way for various purposes and also happen to be major consumers. Realizing this, a major initiative is being taken to spread consumer awareness through the online medium. The advertisements being brought out by the department are also being displayed on the website of the ministry www.fcamin.nic.in. Advertisements are being carried in journals of publication divisions such as Yojana, Kurukshetra, Bal Bharti, Aajkal and their regional editions. Focused articles on consumer awareness are being published in these magazines keeping in view their target readership. Employment News, the flagship publication of Publication Division, which is the largest selling career weekly of its kind, occasionally publishes articles that are of interest to youngsters in keeping them informed about their rights. The advertisements of department are also published regularly in Employment News Rozgar Samachar so that the youth of the country are made aware of their consumer rights. The youngsters are using the internet in a big way for various purposes and also happen to be major consumers. Realizing this, a major initiative has been taken to spread consumer awareness through the internet medium Jago Grahak Jago with the help of state government UTs, considering the fact that active involvement of state governments in awareness campaign is crucial in taking forward the movement to rural, remote and backward areas. State UT governments have been actively associated in expanding the area of consumer awareness. In fact, the effectiveness of the scheme is enhanced by the involvement of states UTs PRIs. The provision for grant-in-aid support to states UTs has been one of the key components of the consumer awareness scheme. The Department of Consumer Affairs provided publicity materials such as posters, audio, video, folders, calendars, and magazines, etc. to the state governments UTs for distribution through panchayats in the rural areas. Besides being aware of their rights, consumers have other responsibilities which include exercising restraint on consumption of water, electricity, fuel and other non-renewable scarce commodities whenever possible, if a product can serve for a longer period using it instead of buying a new one, and recycling a product where possible. Government alone cannot do everything. Consumers have to come forward and spread the message about consumer rights and responsibilities. Organized consumers are power. Therefore, consumers must unite and fight for their rights. Following are the key initiatives finalized under the 6-point agenda for partnership of industry bodies such as FICCI, CII, etc. with Ministry of Consumer Affairs to empower consumers. I jointly develop and endeavor to implement amongst all members of the association a self-regulated code of fair business practices with the consumer at its heart. 2. Encourage all members of the association to partner with the National Consumer Helpline and State Consumer Helplines on grievance redressal. 3. Launch joint consumer awareness, education and training programs under the Jago Grahak Jago campaign. 4. Work towards earmarking of CSR funds for consumer awareness and protection activities from each member industry annually. We establish a consumer affairs division vertical in the industry body with a dedicated team to address consumer-related issues. 6. Initiate advocacy action against unfair trade practices and preventing fake, counterfeit and substandard products and services to enhance consumer protection through enhanced vigilance and innovative outreach. 4.5 National Consumer Helpline. The National Consumer Helpline, NCH, was the first consumer helpline to be set up by the government. It is a public service project supported by the Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. In fact, it was one of the first such helplines in the interest of consumers at large in the government domain, and it came into existence in the year 2005 after the Department of Consumer Affairs had called for an expression of interest to operate a helpline project dedicated to giving advice, guidance and information for various consumer-related problems. Over the last decade, the helpline has grown by leaps and bounds, and in addition to a toll-free number, can also be accessed by an SMS number and from the website. The University of Delhi was awarded the first phase of the project, and National Consumer Helpline, NCH, started its work from the Department of Commerce in the premises of the Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. The project was inaugurated on 15th March 2005 on the World Consumers' Day. The public at large was informed about the National Consumer Helpline through advertisements, media reports, press conferences, and other programs. An exclusive program on NCH was aired by All India Radio to carry the message to every nook and corner of the country. The third phase of the project that started in April 2014 saw NCH relocating to a spacious and bright premise at the Indian Institute of Public Administration, IIPA, New Delhi, from where it presently functions. National Consumer Helpline provides advice, information and guidance to empower consumers and persuade businesses to reorient their policy and management systems to address consumer concerns and grievances, adopting global standards. A consumer from any part of the country can call National Consumer Helpline at a national toll-free No. 1800-11-4000 to seek information, advice or guidance for his queries and complaints. It advises consumers on dealing with problems related to defective products, deficiency in services and unfair trade practices. The National Consumer Helpline supports consumers by guiding consumers in finding solutions to problems related to products and services, providing information related to companies and regulatory authorities, facilitating consumers in filing complaints against defaulting service providers, empowering consumers to use available consumer grievances redressal mechanisms. Generating awareness among consumers about their rights and responsibilities. The main motive of the helpline of the national consumer is to provide the service to the consumers through guidance, information, and telephonic advice to reorient the policy of business and address the system of management regarding the grievances and concerns of the consumers all over the world. There were different ways to guide and support the consumers' right, like awareness regarding the responsibilities and rights, solution of problems related to services and products, and also to prove the information regarding the authorities and companies through which the consumers will be able to file their problems, and their problems will be here in giving solutions to their problems. Measures to improve the working of the National Consumer Helpline. The Department of Consumer Affairs has initiated the following steps to tackle with the growing number of consumer complaints, expanding the capacity of National Consumer Helpline from 14 to 60. Email, SMS and mobile app will be developed for redressal of complaints. Response time from present 5 to 6 minutes will be reduced to 3 minutes. A committee under the chairmanship of Minister of State, Consumer Affairs, Shri C.R. Chaudhary has been set up to consider setting up 4 regional helpline centers to address complaints in regional languages. It has been in pipeline in the Department of Consumer Affairs to expand the capacity of National Consumer Helpline, NCH, from existing 14 workstations to 60 workstations to reach out to most of the aggrieved consumers across the country. 4.6 Consumer Online Resource Empowerment Core. The Core Center has been set up with assistance by the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India, to provide a most scientific and effective system of collection and dissemination of consumer-related information. It was set up at the same time when NCH was set up in 2005 under the umbrella of Consumer Coordination Council, CCC, Apex Association, body of voluntarily consumer organization in the country. Core has been revamped in 2016 and has been taken by the Department of Consumer Affairs as one of the projects and integrated with National Consumer Helpline. The objectives of the Core Center are development of national information gathering mechanisms on consumer-related issues, dissemination of information on important consumer issues, establishment of a research and documentation center on various consumer issues, providing information and analysis of consumer-related laws and judgments, and providing online support and pursuing consumer complaints. The fundamental principle on which the project is founded is based on the premise that information and communication technologies, ICTs, can be effectively used for generating awareness, development of consumer rights, focusing corporate attention as consumer needs, preferences and problems, orienting government functioning vis-a-vis citizens, and seeking enforcement of citizen charters. Focus as also policymakers, legal professionals, consumer activists, and manufacturing companies, business and professionals, especially doctors, stockbrokers, insurance and travel agents, often feel the need to have easy access to consumer law. Specific information is domains where they practice or operate. This has meant that they are constantly looking for a single resource which, while providing comprehensive access to content, would also provide initiative and dynamic knowledge to the user based on the interrelationships of the content, the type of document, and the source of information. The Core Center comprises the following components: National Resource Center, online database portal, newsletter service, network between consumer organizations, consumer information centers, government and non-government organizations, Online complaint registration and mediation mechanism. The significant aims of the core center are as follows. C. Creation of a national resource center. A comprehensive national resource center on consumer issues would also take care of the research and information needs of parliamentarians, bureaucrats, scholars, academics and students. A comprehensive repository of information on consumer welfare categorized and tagged in XML would bring about the versatility required for a database in a resource center. The resource center would only be accessible by paid subscribers. 2. Creation of online database portal. CCC proposes the creation of an online database portal on consumer issues, as it believes that this would also significantly reduce the learning curve of consumers, activists and professionals working in the field. This is vital since often the paralegals, activists and the staff of partner agencies have neither the time nor the resources to keep themselves updated on the latest developments in their area of work and interest. The access to the online portal would be free. 3. Newsletter service. An external, independent newsletter service ensures that the detailed information in the National Resource Center and the online database are circulated to stakeholders in a regular, steady and comprehensive manner. If the newsletters are dispatched in electronic format, apart from the reduced costs, benefits of personalization are possible and will ensure that only focused and important information is dispatched to the newsletter subscribers, as per the newsletter subscribers requirement. 4. Network between consumer organizations, consumer information centers, government and non-government organizations. The core center would also serve as a network between consumer organizations, consumer information centers, government and non-government organizations to ensure that an information flow is created for the benefit of the ultimate beneficiaries, i.e. the consumers. The core center would make use of the latest ICT tools to also ensure that these organizations can exchange information on various consumer-related issues and can keep abreast of any developments taking place in any part of the country. Online complaint registration and mediation mechanism. Creation of an online complaint registration and mediation mechanism will ensure that the consumers can report their grievances online and experts in the field can advise them and channelize their complaints to a proper authority for quick and effective disposal. The core center would also seek to provide redressal by directly taking up issues with manufacturers or the providers of goods and service or other government agencies and organizations. The core complaint registration process work like convergence the way NCH has evolved over the years. 4.7 Grahak Suvidha Kendras, Consumer Guidance Centers, Grahak Suvidha Kendra, are operating as single window and working as effective nodal points in raising the awareness on consumer rights through campaigns and solving consumer problems. Grahak Suvidha Kendras can help Indian citizens faced with everyday practical consumer problems by offering them information and professional advice, thus promoting consumer education and awareness and in the process empowering consumers. The consumer guidance centers will be networked through a common IT platform and website for uniformity and appropriate guidelines are issued for their functioning. Informed and empowered consumers play a key role in strengthening competition in the market and stimulating growth. Providing consumers with clear information about their rights and obligations and assuring them that they can obtain effective redress in case of a problem improves their confidence and helps unlock the full economic potential of the market. The aim of GSKs should be to offer consumers a wide range of services, from providing information on their rights when shopping, giving advice, guidance and assistance with their complaints when problems arise. Initially, the Department of Consumer Affairs has launched Grahak Suvidha Kendra in some of the cities in India on pilot basis. Grahak Suvidha Kendra, a one-stop center that will provide a host of services to consumers under one roof. The consumer guidance centers are designed to function as an extended arm of state helpline of the state and be on a network co-sponsored by the Department of Consumer Affairs and the state government. At pilot stage there are 5 such centers: North, South, East, West and Central, in the 5 zones of the country, offering free and impartial advice and also assistance in disputes between consumers and traders. GSK's function is to provide only advice and assistance in consumer disputes. These consumer guidance centers have no powers to enforce legislation or investigate traders' service provider. They are more like a facilitator to consumer to get their complaint resolved in best possible manner. Department of Consumer Affairs has introduced Grahak Suvidha Kendra (GSK) on a pilot basis in 5 states viz. Bihar, Gujarat, Karnataka, Rajasthan and West Bengal. The portal is also coordinating the activities of these GSKs. Based on the performance of these pilot centers, a decision to extend the scheme to other parts will be explored to make advisory services and assistance more accessible to consumers. The Government of India has set up Grahak Suvidha Kendras (GSKs) consumer care centers in different regions of the country. Some of functions of Grahak Suvidha Kendra are advise on consumer rights and obligations while shopping, ordering goods online, pre-purchase advice and guidance, give practical pre-purchase consumer tips which will help save money, get value for money and avoid problems, build and maintain data and knowledge base on issues relating to consumers within the state. Identify a pool of accredited non-advocates to act as legal representative, e.g. Inform Commission, and handle consumer complaints, liaison between the consumers, VCOs, state central government and other agencies on matters relating to consumer welfare, help redress consumer complaint against a trader based in another state. For instance, if one is claiming a refund which the trader has refused and which the consumer believes he/she is entitled to, ask counterpart center in the state of the trader service provider to contact the trader on consumer's behalf and try to find a solution to his/her complaint, advise on further action if an amicable solution is not possible, for example, out-of-court settlements or other legal action. Services offered to consumers through Grahak Suvidha Kendra are consumer-to-business problems when buying products or availing services, either in person or via distance purchases, mainly e-commerce. Provides information on consumer rights and how to assert the rights, build and maintain data and knowledge base on consumer issues of the state. Advise and provide information to consumers who are having problems with a company. Inform consumers on alternative ways to deal with complaints if they cannot be solved amicably with the trader service provider, e.g. alternate dispute, redressal, ADR, or a court, intervene in disputes where the consumer and trader are unable to reach a positive outcome through non-advocates, cooperate with other agencies and networks, such as the consumer helplines, mediation centers and consumer fora, provides valuable input for the state government and DCA on consumer policy issues. GSK will be in a unique position to know the everyday, local concerns and problems of consumers and will increasingly provide input to policymakers at both national and state level. If consumer is not satisfied with the outcome or response from the trader, service provider, the GSK may be able to help on points of law, consumer, entitlements and guidance on the next step. The service provided by the GSK is advisory. GSK may not have any enforcement powers and cannot compel traders to take any action or accept their point of view. 4.8 State Consumer Helpline. State consumer helplines have been established by various state governments to advise and guide the consumers in regional language and to cater to the need of local people, especially the rural masses. The advisors at state consumer helplines, SCHs, provide pre-purchase information, post-purchase advice, guidance and information, and also offer next step advice for resolution or redress in Hindi, English and local language. The State Consumer Helpline provides counseling on complaints related to products and services and also develop database information relating to the respective state. It functions as a resource center with complete database of all required information necessary for counseling. Indicators like number of complaints received and resolved and time taken to resolve them and the general reception towards the helpline as a useful service will be assessed. State UT government will monitor the progress and report the progress on a monthly basis. The advantages of a state helpline are: 1. The state helplines will be a successful attempt as an ADR mechanism. 2. State helplines once develop local database and trained manpower can actually initiate mediation mechanism before a complaint is registered with Consumer Forum. 3. Service in local language makes the helpline to penetrate to rural areas. For service delivery. 4. The scheme has been made flexible so that state can rope in any good VCO or an institution to run the helpline, thereby developing capacity building. Department of Consumer Affairs has funded setting up consumer helplines in various states. The monitoring of the helplines is the responsibilities of the respective state government. These consumer helplines are receiving calls from the consumers generally through toll-free number. The other mode of communications available to the consumers to reach advisors of consumer helplines is through emails, letters, fax and personal visits. State Consumer Helpline Knowledge Management Portal, SCHKMP, the Department of Consumer Affairs. Government of India in partnership with the Center for Consumer Studies, Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi has set up a national nodal agency known as the State Consumer Helpline Knowledge Resource Management Portal, SCHKRMP. The Knowledge Resource Management Portal will coordinate and monitor the activities of state consumer helplines, SCH, provide solutions and advisory services to these helplines, maintain knowledge and convergence. The purpose of monitoring is to ensure that all activities of the project are implemented, the IT platform is properly used, complaints are handled appropriately, campaign themes are aligned to the overall objectives, and SCHs are equipped with the necessary resources. The Knowledge Resource Management Portal will work in close coordination with various state governments and other stakeholders. The responsibilities of the Knowledge Resource Management Portal will comprise of the following tasks: coordination of activities of SCHs, monitoring of activities of SCHs, provision of IT infrastructure and knowledge management, provision of training, and preparation of campaign materials. State Consumer Helpline Knowledge Portal links state consumer helplines, SCH, and Grahak Suvidha Kendra, GSK, located in different states. Did you know World Consumer Rights Day is celebrated on the 15th of March every year and the National Consumer Rights Day on the 24th of December? It is mandatory to declare the name and address of the importer of foreign goods on the packets and also the expiry date. If goods are made in one country and repacked in smaller quantities in another, it is required to state the names of both countries in case of a problem with regard to the weights and measures on packaged commodities. You can prefer a complaint with the Directorate, Department of Legal Metrology of your state. The red vertical line on the left side of the medicine strip indicates that the medicine will be available only on prescription. 4.9 Summary. Government of India has wide range of forum in order to promote and protect the interests and rights of the consumers in all over the India. Some of forum which are discussed in this unit are National Consumer Helpline, Consumer Online Resource and Empowerment, CORE, CENT, Grahak Suvidha Kandras, and State Consumer Helpline helplines. Under its Jago Grahak Jago initiative, the department has tried to reach consumers through print advertisements in national as well as regional newspapers, TV spots in Doordarshan and private channels, audio spots in All India Radio, and private FM channels. The department has also tied up with the Postal Department for display of posters on consumer awareness and printing and distribution of publicity material through DAF and outdoor publicity through the Song and Drama Division of IB Ministry. The National Consumer Helpline, which has been the focus of the awareness campaign, empowers consumers from all over the country to dial the toll-free number 1800-11-4000 and seek telephonic counseling for problems that they face as consumers in marketplace. CORE is another project which primary objective to empower consumer by disseminating consumer judgments, laws, and relevant cases, and also to provide consumer dispute redressal through online mode. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.